Starting off, this one's a little different. We only have one book to talk about, and yes, I could remember 2 books. However, I made a vow that after I got my essay back about that book, I'd never read or mention it again. Not because it was bad or anything, but because it was sad. Sadder than a child called it, and it was also a true story which didn't help the nightmares that I had following my original read of the book. Again, since I vowed to never discuss that book again, I will not be telling you which book it is. So you may be asking yourself, why the hell am I talking about it just to leave you unsatisfied by not telling you the name of the book? Simple answer, I'm evil. Everyone had to read Lord of the Flies in school, so I think we're all in agreement with this book when I say published in 1954 and written by William Golding, Lord of the Flies traumatized many a high school student, me included. Let's talk about it. Lord of the Flies follows a group of boys who survived a plane crash and then tried to survive on this island with no adult supervision. Ralph is the first kid we are introduced to. There are a lot of kids, and I'm not going to name them all. The ones that pissed me off get names though. Ralph's a little douchebag. He meets up with another kid who is overweight with glasses, and this kid disclosed to Ralph that the other kids used to call him Piggy, and he asked specifically not to be called that, to which Ralph promptly starts calling him Piggy. Then they meet up with other kids who Ralph also tells to call Piggy Piggy. I can't fucking stand this kid. I'd yeet this child into the nearest volcano any day. The same could be said for all of these kids, to be honest, except for Piggy. Piggy is good. They meet up and decide to appoint a leader by voting. And of course, Ralph wins. They establish rules. Whoever holds this conch shell that they found on the beach gets to talk.
All hail the magic conch!
Once structure is established, it devolves, and it devolves fast. It's not a very long book. So one chapter, they're trying to survive. The next, they start playing stabbing games for fun. Some of the boys start talking about this thing called the Beast. Ralph rejects the existence of the Beast, whereas this boy Jack believes it real. A power struggle is brewing between Jack and Ralph. They're both awful, so they can destroy each other for all I give a shit. Everyone but Piggy can catch these hands, to be very honest with you. I don't give a shit if they are kids. If you pulled this type of bullshit, I'm gonna wanna fuck you up. That being said, let's talk about why I hate these little shits. I'm gonna kind of go through these points quickly because I hate this book and I want to get to 10th grade as fast as humanly possible. Not because the books for 10th grade are any better, but because I want to go back to forgetting this book exists as fast as humanly possible. We have our 2 head jackasses, Ralph and Jack. There's already tension between the 2 because of the whole Beast debate, and it turns into an all-out kitty war between the 2. Jack gets the kids to turn on Ralph, and obviously King Asshat doesn't like the usurper usurping. It gets to the point that Ralph literally only has Piggy after his little disciples find a new aspiring cult leader to attach to. The last little chunk of this novel is where shit hits the fan, and I say that a lot, but I'm not gonna stop. There's an aerial assault over the island, resulting in a pilot getting tangled up by their parachute strings and dying upon descent. Because of their dwindling mental capacity, these children believe that this is the Beast that they were fearing all along. Now they have justification for their paranoia, which only fuels more of this primal type behavior. Jack assaults Ralph's camp and takes Piggy's glasses. The reasoning for this is whack as hell, just like this book. Jack and his cultlings decide that the true symbol of power on the island is not the conch as Ralph tried to implement, but Piggy's glasses. Since his glasses can be used to reflect the sun, thus starting a fire, it's the most valuable thing on the island. After the assault, Ralph and Piggy try to go back to Jack's camp in an attempt to get the glasses back, willing to share its ability to create fire, which goes about as well as to be expected. A hostile confrontation ensues, and Roger, I hate this little fucker. Roger kills Piggy by dropping a big rock on him. The voice of reason is now gone. The few kids that were with Ralph now officially join Jack for the sake of survival. However, the twins that were with Ralph, Sam and Eric, warn Ralph that Jack wants to kill him. While Jack's village is attacking Ralph, he manages to escape long enough to run into a rescue officer. At that moment, the reality of what these kids were doing hits them, and they all revert into the little boys trapped on an island, scared, crying, and wanting to go home. The funny part is when the officer asks who's in charge, Ralph pipes up and says he is. Jack thinks about saying something but ultimately decides to keep his mouth shut. as he should. He was so gung-ho about saying fuck the rules, yet the second an adult shows up, he forgets that he was a little Jim Jones in the making. Now, much like To Kill a Mockingbird, it's absolutely dated and needs to be replaced with a more modern book that can portray the message without all the old-timey language, because that causes a disconnect. How can children today relate to a group of 10 to 12-year-old boys stuck on a British island? You can't. The overall message that William Golding was going for was that without rules, we more or less have nothing, which he decided to portray by stranding a bunch of little assholes and Piggy on an island, which I don't know. Off the top of my head, I can't really think of a novel that would portray that. There are also themes of peer pressure and hive mind mentality, to which I could recommend the Battle of Jericho for. Granted, the Battle of Jericho is almost 20 years old, but considering it was published about half a century after The Lord of the Flies, it's definitely more modern. I am sorry this took me so long to get out. I did have February content, and then I honestly just took a break. I do everything myself. The script writing, the editing, and of course, the reading. It's all me, and I am just one librarian. I will be finishing out this series, and then I have a big project I will be shifting gears to work on, so expect more sporadic episodes again when this series is over, so in about a month. In the meantime, don't forget to drink water and return your library books on time, or else.